Oh my
Macarena.
God.
Hey, Macarena. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is Victory Monday, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Welcome back. This is episode 623 of the Two Dumb Users. Glad to see everybody back this morning on this Monday morning. This is Victory Monday. Mike, lots of things to go over today. I'm going to be honest with you. We are one third of the way through this season. There's an 18
Yeah,
week season altogether. We busted out six of the 18 weeks. We're one third of the way through.
yeah.
And yet, this Pittsburgh Steelers team has not, I repeat, has not dropped out of first place yet this season. Say what you want about these Steelers. But as I'm looking around the league, something that I'm noticing some of these elite teams that people think that we're going to have such a problem with, which we may or we
Yeah.
may not, I don't know if there are really many that still exist. I would say that you could throw maybe the Kansas City Chiefs in. I think the Buffalo Bills would always give us a good game. And then over on the other
Hmm.
side of the NFC, I think maybe the Lions and the Vikings maybe. But if you're looking for elite teams, my God, I'm having a hard. And listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we could go into these stadiums and beat these teams off of
Yeah.
come off of one win. That would be unfair to do. But I'm saying, I mean, the elite teams that they keep saying that the Steelers don't stand a chance against, a lot of games I'm seeing this season would indicate otherwise. Um, Again, I'm
Yeah.
not
There.
saying that the Pittsburgh Steelers would go run the table in the playoffs. I'm not saying that, but we're just about as we have just about as much chance as about 25 other teams in this league right now.
Yeah. To kind of like echo your point of how elite teams and where we stack up. The best point differentials in the AFC. Number three, the Kansas City Chiefs plus 33. Buffalo Bills plus 36. They do play tonight. Number one, the Pittsburgh Steelers at plus 38.
What was that? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying
Point
attention.
differential. Point differential. The
Okay.
best point differential in the AFC. We are number one at plus 38, Bills plus 36, the Chiefs plus 33. Who would have thought that, coming into the season, let alone the way we have played this season, we were number three in point differential in the NFL. It's like we think we are a terrible team most of the time because we watch the rest of the league play, and then you see where we're at stat wise. It's head scratching what's going on in the NFL right now.
And as I said, here we are. We sit a third of the way through the 18-week season. We have 6 games knocked out, still 12 weeks, 11 games left. 2 more weeks, we get Cam Sutton back. We do have some things going in our favor. However, there were some things that went against our
Yeah.
wishes yesterday. I don't know the word, if anybody has the word or can spread it. Zach Frazier, of course, the injury to our rookie starting center. Mike, any word on this yet?
All I was able to see was an update for that he was in a walking boot after the game.
Okay.
No one knows. Like none of the players they didn't say anything. They said in interviews after the game they don't know the extent of it. They don't know what's going on. Just hope that he's back soon. But in a walking boot, that's 50-50 if it's good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we'll find out
Yeah.
more tomorrow once the Mike Tomlin press conference comes around tomorrow after the show. We'll find more information out on that. However, at some point, the I got to tell you, the injury bug has to stop. Listen, we're playing good football, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, we're down so many starters, so many
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
It's just it's hard to imagine. But again, at the end of the day, you look at some of these numbers, Mike, and as you said, I mean, we lead the AFC in point differential. We have not left first place since the beginning of the season. This is I mean, from day one, this team has not been out of first place.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are some positive things, and at the end of the day, when people talk about teams that are going to be qualified and teams that they believe that can make a run at it, the Baltimore Ravens are going to fall into that category. And at the end of the day, we've been ahead of the Ravens. We are tied with the Ravens. We still get to play the Ravens 2 more times,
Hmm.
and again, they are 1-7 against the Steelers in their last 8 games, which of course means nothing moving forward. But again, you can still look at these kind of things and say, just maybe this makeshift Steeler team where we're plugging and putting pieces and injuries are coming and happening, and we're managing to put it together and sit at 4-2, 4-2. 4-2 after six
Or
games, and we have two games against New York teams at home the next 2 weeks on they're both prime time, and then the bye week, and then the second half of the season starts. So, as I said, Mike, we sit kind of about where everybody else sits. There's nobody
Mhm.
that's really running away. Yes, the
No.
Chiefs still haven't lost. Yes, the Vikings still haven't lost. But at the end of the day, you watch these teams, they're totally beatable.
Yeah.
I think they're beatable. If you watch the Chiefs whenever they played a couple of the games they played, again, I don't know how much that Mahomes team, they still haven't lost a single game yet. Um, Mike, what do you think?
Uh, I I'd much rather play Kansas City in the playoffs than it play like the Minnesota in the playoffs, and that would be the Super Bowl. But I think we would match up so much better against Kansas City this year. Just they're finding ways to win, but they outside of Kelsey on that offense, who's their star player? You got Xavier Worthy, he's a speed guy. Pachenko would scare me, but I think we'd match up well against Kansas City this year. I think even against Buffalo this year, we would be able to hold our own, unlike last year, and I think the year before when we played them in the regular season. I this team's finding ways to win. It's not pretty, but they're finding ways to win. And a team like that, we see it all the time in every sport. That's a dangerous team. The team that can just find a way to win. We can win ugly, and a lot of teams can't win ugly. And in the playoffs, sometimes you have to win ugly. And I
We're
give
all
us
about
a
the ugly.
favor, huh?
We're all about the ugly.
We're all about the ugly here in Pittsburgh. I mean, look at you.
I mean,
Yeah,
look at the yellow square next to me.
just that background's ugly. I got to clean that up. It's got to match my award-winning
But
face
before we
here. But
move
no,
on, I do have something to say.
yeah.
The Steelers win this game 32-13. And if you would take just a field goal off of both of the team's scores, bear with me here, people.
Uh-huh. Okay. We're
32-13 was the final count. You take just 3 points, just a field goal off of each team's score. That means it would have been what, like 29-10. And
yeah.
if you did tune into Brian's show yesterday, as they're talking about on the board, my pick was 29-10. I thought I had it there at the end. I thought that the Raiders were going to kick a field goal and not go for the touchdown, and they went for the touchdown and got it and made it 32-13. But again, like just a field goal off of each score would have been my pick 29. I was feeling it was a gut feeling. He asked what the
You
score was going to be, and I blurted it out 29-10. So
Yeah, you were close, and I think the Steelers scored more points than we all thought they would. And my God, what?
I thought yesterday was going to be the day. I thought they were going to put up some
Yeah,
points.
and they did. They did. It doesn't feel like they put up 32 points though. At the end of the game, when the game was over, it's like, how did we get
Let
32
me,
points?
let me take
I'll
just a moment
take it.
to address the board. Good morning, Ron. How you doing today, sir? Good morning, Jen. How you doing today, ma'am? Brian says Sunday's show is a shit show. It's always a shit show. That's why you should check it out every Sunday, 11 o'clock. Jen says no, it was a good one. Especially when Mike flipped out. Do you flip out? What did you flip out about? I don't even remember.
I can't even
Yesterday was
remember.
so long ago.
There was so much whiskey drank yesterday on my part. I don't remember half of
And
it
then the
today.
Steelers happened after that. So I mean, there's really no way of me
But I
remembering
was
what happened
I
yesterday.
remember the Steeler game. I don't remember the pregame show.
Also, let's see. Ron says Najee ran hard
And Ray,
yesterday,
he ran hard.
and then we can't get by the KC refs. Yeah, that seems to be the theme around the league, and I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. As it's just going to be. I mean, are we going to do this for the next 10 years with this Chiefs team as the Patriots were? And but that's a whole different debate for a whole different day, guys. Let's talk about the Steeler game. Pittsburgh Steelers again. Yes, they.
P might have the best comment I've read in a long time on the board.
What is it?
Mike Tomlin is in an abusive relationship with Steelers fans. He's just waiting for the kids to move out.
you know.
Jesus Christ.
So the Steelers win yesterday. They win 32-13. Mike, that improves the Steelers' record to 4-2. That drops the Raiders to 2 and
Yes.
4 in their respective division. We are 3-0. We're 3-0 against the AFC West this year so far. All we have left is the Kansas City Chiefs, which comes way, way, way late at the end of the season, Christmas Day actually. The Raiders were 2-0 against our division. We stopped that yesterday. Some numbers, Mike. The total yards on the game, Pittsburgh had 293, Vegas had 275. Pittsburgh had 110 passing yards. Las Vegas. That's the part that's the one that really gets me. I really
Mhm.
felt that there was more passing yards by Justin Fields yesterday. When I stopped
It's
and looked at these numbers, I was very surprised.
Yeah. Well, you take out the 35 yards in stats, so it makes it look smaller, but still 145 if you
Well,
add
even
in the
if you put
sack
on
yardage back.
35, it's
It
still
sucks. It felt like there was more.
um the running yards were 183 in our favor to 57. I gotta like that.
Oh yeah.
First downs 18 to 16 in favor of the Steelers. Third down, 4 for 13. They went 2 for 11. We gave up 3 sacks. They gave up 1 sack. They lost 2 fumbles and threw an interception. We had no turnovers,
Yeah.
and we won the time of possession by about 3 minutes. Now, granted, it was the Raiders, but it was something to definitely build off of. There was things that happened during the course of this game that were really big. They were really important. They were really good, I believe, for this team's psyche moving forward. And again, we have the Jets this coming weekend on Sunday night, and then the following weekend we have the New York Giants at home on a Monday night. So that's kind of our we the Steelers tend to play well on primetime games.
Yeah.
I don't think that either one of these two New York teams looked that fantastic. I seen the Bengals beat the Giants last night 17-7. And again, I don't think that the Jets look all that great. They have some sharp spots. Don't get me wrong. They have a decent quarterback who has he has the head on his shoulders that's been there, done that. And then also you have, of course, a lot of decent young skill players on both offensive, defensive side of the ball, Mike. But I think that this is totally a beatable team. Again, from what I've seen from them so far this year,
Hmm.
I'm not scared to play the New York Jets.
No, neither am I. Just Rogers has been so inconsistent this year. The whole team is a mess. Firing your coach um, already at this point in the season, placating Aaron Rodgers. It's it should be a winnable game. The next two should be winnable. Even if we play the way we did against the Raiders, kind of sloppy on offense, I think we still can win those games. But what's killing me is just how inconsistent we are executing plays. And if they could ever clean that up, this offense might actually consistently score 28 to 35 points a week. And you add that into this defense, look out. Could be a competent NFL franchise, boys.
They
It's this close, as Tomlin was telling the guys. This close.
And again, granted, the Raiders aren't that good of a team, and they have a
No.
lot of guys out just like we do. So I wouldn't hang a whole lot. I'd hang something. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There'd
Yeah.
be something I would hang, but I wouldn't hang everything off this win
No.
yesterday. I mean, look at collectively what we've done. It's basically what we've expected. I think,
Yeah.
and then sitting at 4-2, I think we could have all said would have been the best case scenario. I think 6 weeks ago, talking about where we would be
Oh,
six
yeah.
weeks from now. I think 4-2, we would have all said, you know what, that's pretty good. I'll go with that. I like that, and we would have been satisfied. But I think Mike, winning these next two games, if they can come home and beat the Jets and the Giants, going into
Ooh.
that bye week and being 6-2
Yeah.
after 8 games, you got to start liking what you're seeing. And as like I said, you're not going to see the Vikings, you're not going to see the Lions. Don't worry about them guys. Provided we could run the table in the playoffs, we could maybe run into these teams. Our main idea right now, our main thought should be figuring out ways to beat teams like Kansas City, Buffalo, and Houston. Number three teams that I feel would be the main concern for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. And again, I'm not putting them on a pedestal because we scored 32 points. I'm just saying, talk just a little potential maybe after what
Hmm.
we have seen so far after 6 games. I mean, we could create a collective opinion because we've seen enough football now where week one we were saying, oh, we have nothing to base this off of. There's nothing to compare
Yeah.
to. Week three, it's like, well, they played 3 weeks. Guys, we are a third of the way through this football season. Again, the Steelers have not been out of first place yet. Not for
And
just not a second, Mike.
no, no, not a second.
We were
And
supposed to be in the
that's
bottom of this division, weren't we?
Yeah, we were supposed to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I saw preseason like us being mocked in the top 10 in drafts. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
And here
where
we
we're
are ahead of
sitting now,
everybody.
yeah, I'll take where we are right now, sitting, like I said, 4-2. Even if we end up 5-3 after these next two games, I will take that. Because coming into the second half of the schedule, which was supposed to be the worst in the NFL, the toughest schedule in the NFL in the second half, it's looking a whole lot easier as the season plays out. The Browns are imploding faster than anyone
I
thought.
refuse to think that
The
those are
Bengals
easy.
defense,
I can't.
yeah, I know they're division games, but if you can, even if you go in and you sweep or not sweep, split the division, there's another 3 wins right there. We're sitting at 8-9, like we
Yeah.
always, or 8-9, just out of those. But you figure, Eagles look beatable, Commanders look beatable. That this team's going to back its way into a playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean,
This way the
them
schedule's,
are your three teams, Mike. I mean, you're looking down the road, you're looking at games that could be huge. Of course, every division game is always huge, but you're talking Commanders, you're talking
yeah,
Eagles, you're talking Chiefs. These are the three teams that that we're going to face, and it's going to tell a lot about this team come the end of the season. If we only win the games against the Raiders, the Broncos, the Falcons,
yeah,
and we lose the games to Kansas City, Philadelphia, and Washington, that again, that tells you where you're at. So I'm feeling a little optimistic. I want to win those games. I want to win at least two or three if we can.
yeah,
Of course, as you stated, the Eagles aren't fantastic. They only beat Cleveland by 4 yesterday.
hmm,
Cleveland, the one win Browns, they lose 20-16 to the Philadelphia Eagles. Also in the division, a couple other scores to give you a little roundup on that. The Cincinnati Bengals, they did beat the Giants on Sunday Night Football. They do have 2 wins. And the Baltimore Ravens beat the Washington Commanders by a touchdown, which I thought was going to be a really good game. And it ended up
yeah.
being a pretty good game. And they have 4 wins as well as we do. So us and Baltimore tied at the top. Cincy in second with 2 wins, 2-4, and then Cleveland in the basement, as we would expect here
As
in
yeah,
Pittsburgh. As the national media tells us that we're going to be in the basement, and Cleveland's going to be
yeah,
up. But look at
yeah.
reality and look what we already know.
Cleveland. Some people were saying could were oh man, it could have been Baltimore, Cleveland fighting for the division. So it's funny the way it's shaking out right now. You, the Browns haven't won the division in so long. It was what the Houston Oilers have won it more recently, and they don't even exist anymore. Come
Yeah.
on now, get out of here with this
They
Cleveland.
people don't even remember that they existed.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
There's
guys that are
people.
old like us, we do, but I mean, younger,
Yeah,
people when they're younger, they're like, who? That was a
yeah.
team
They're
when you
like,
were alive?
yeah. Who are the Houston Oilers? Or take your meds, Grandpa. Get back to the nursing home.
All right.
Yeah.
Good morning, Phil. Still always great to see you, sir. He
Yes.
says 90 plugged the black hole, baby. Yes, he
Oh
sure
yeah.
did. We're going to get into some individual performances here just
Mhm. He had a
shortly.
hell of a game.
He really did. I think that we owe somebody an apology, Mike, before we do move on. Cam Hayward, Cam, guys. And the thing is, we're talking about this, and I'm thinking while I'm watching the game as he gets a tackle and a sack, I believe he had. He looked good,
He had
right?
a
He
couple
looked good.
couple tackles, a sack. He had some plays that he blew up that led to other people. I will criticize him, but I also say he had a hell of a second half of
Yeah,
that game.
Mike, and
And, that's what we wanted to see from him, man. This is someone to step up, and he stepped up.
we are going
I
to
like
give
it.
game balls today, Mike. Something new we haven't done on the show yet. We are going to grade as we always do on
Yeah,
how we felt the performances were, but we are going to give our game balls today. As I said again, we are starting that new TJ Watt, just a game changer. He punched 2 balls out for two
yeah,
forced fumbles. Unbelievable. We have more. I mean, come on. Even if the Raiders had anybody supporting them at that stadium, you didn't see them. They were all blocked out by terrible towels and Steeler jerseys. It was, in my opinion, probably one of the funnest games, if not the funnest game to watch so far this year as a Steeler fan. We had a nice lead. There was no heart attacks at the end of the game,
mm-mm.
which generally happens a lot of times in the NFL anymore, and no matter who you are. And again, a lot of big things happen. Cam looked good. TJ, um, and you know what? Even our quarterback again only throwing 140 yards or whatever. I felt that through the course of that game, it seemed like he threw more. But
Yeah.
you know what? We win 32-13.
Well, we won 32-13. It's time for Russell Wilson to play.
Yeah, that makes
Oh,
ridiculously literally
was it
no
Field? It
sense
wasn't Fields'
whatsoever.
best
I was
game
gonna
reading the defense, and he missed some throws out there. But
There's
he
three
won the
times,
game.
Mike.
He won the game. That's all that
Three
matters.
times when he tucked the ball and ran upfield and got first
Yeah,
downs whenever it was about 8 or more yards. I absolutely love that. Listen, if this guy doesn't fumble at all like he didn't yesterday, if he does those little things and he completes, I mean, yes, albeit it was only 14 to 24, he still completed, most of
yeah,
his a majority of his passes, and he found the way just to get
hmm
the ball because
yeah,
Najee Harris came in, excuse me, and did what he did, rushing for 106 yards, a touchdown. 84 of those yards after contact, Mike.
yeah.
84 of his
hmm
106 or after contact. Najee Harris was out of his mind
Oh
yesterday.
yeah.
Uh,
I loved seeing this from Najee. He's another guy that I harp on, but this is what I want to see from him, man. He was making cuts. He was making his own holes. Like this is what
that's the
he should be
Najee I
doing
want to
game in, game
see.
out. This is what I loved seeing it from Najee. I was
When you're
happy to
when
see it
you're
from him.
you know when you're giving your opinions and they're not favorable, this is the guy that I think of. And I know
Yeah.
that's not always
And that's
realistic, but that's the guy that I think of. The guy that was out
me
there
too.
84 yards after
Yeah.
contact, 84 out of 106. My
Yeah.
22 yards that he had yesterday was not after contact.
hmm
84 was after contact. Again, he is on my list. We're giving out game balls this week.
But yeah,
Um, I got a few guys on my
yeah,
list.
me too. And like Najee, like when I give the criticism too, that's what I see is him playing like this because he can do it, and that's what frustrates me. I like if you can do that consistently. My God, I'd be so happy. But that's just what frustrates me with Najee, even with like Fields a little bit. You see what they can do, and you want to see it all the time. And Cam's in that group too. You know what you can do. I just want to see it consistently. I know you can't do it every game, but my God, more often than not, this is what I want to see out of Najee. And it was a thing of beauty, and I loved
If
it.
they're starting to come together and this is how they're going to play
Mm-hmm.
from week to week, I'm
Yeah,
satisfied. I'm
yeah,
optimistic. We just can't go back out next week and lay a big shit egg and
exactly. Yeah.
start doing the things that we said we have to do better, and
Mm-hmm.
we did better. We just can't go backwards. We got to work on
Yeah,
consistency. And you know what? From what I seen yesterday, this was a nice football team. You're
yeah.
kind of going into this game thinking, what do we have? We're 3-2. We
Mm-hmm.
started out 3-0. We lose two in a row, one to Indy, one to the Cowboys, both by 3 points. What do we have here? And again, as I said, this is one of the more fun games for a
Yeah,
Steeler fan. But again, you got to throw it in the mix, and it is what it is. And we
yeah,
won that game. We won it pretty impressively. Mike, let's catch up on this board just a bit real quick before we
yeah.
do move forward. I want to go up back to where Jen says, I hope they rattle Rogers. That's what they're going to have to
Me
do.
too.
You have to hit that guy. You have to hit that guy. He's too good from the neck up. You have to hit the guy. Um, Getting his head a little bit. Also, P says Tallman is working overtime to pay for football, basketball, and baseball summer camps, but the Steelers just want to dance. Feel the Steel said, okay, we got Feel the Steel on that one. Also, P says the former Redskins were my favorite team as a kid by
Mm-hmm.
far. The logo and Doug Williams
Oh
won
yeah.
Super Bowls. Joe Theismann, yeah, absolutely. They were really good when I was growing up. Um, Feel the Steel says 90 MVP this week. Kenneth, hey, how
Hey,
you
what
doing, my
up,
man? Good
Canada?
morning, sir. P says making his own holes, no Diddy. Jen says my Italian Steve got a lot of treats.
Yeah, hell
Steelers
yeah.
in the play. And finally, Phil the Steel says, where was this offense versus the Dallas Cowboys? You know what? The Dallas Cowboys could
They
say the
were
same
resting up.
thing is they went out and got pounded. They got pounded yesterday. So you know what? Screw them Cowboys, right?
Yeah,
I'm done
and the thing
talking.
like with
We're
this
not going to meet
offense,
them in the Super Bowl this year. So you know what?
no, no.
I'm done with them.
And the thing
I'm
like with
so
this offense, we have guys who flash star potential, but they don't perform consistently enough to be star players. Like George Pickens, you can see he has the potential to be a star, a game record, but we dropped pass in the end zone, a couple of drop passes last week. Najee, you can see it. He's not this consistent. Same thing with like Fields and Fryermuth. So, like to get this offense performance out of this team, I'll take it because they're not doing it consistently. I think this is the best they can do right now. They have guys that have potentials to be superstars in the league, but we really don't have a star player in offense. So this is kind of what we're going to get. This might be the peak of the offense we see this year, point wise.
Couple things you got to do. You got to do some things right
They got to do
because
the little things
not
right.
only to not only to execute your own game plan, but to make the defense respect what it is that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're running the ball inside the, between the tackles, a majority of the time, as we were early on in the season, you become very, very. The fact that they are opening it up. Najee has a big game.
Yeah.
Justin's throwing the ball around, completing passes. I mean, come on, he looked good out there. He's making conversions. Running the ball
Yeah.
when he gets a chance. To get first downs. So, those kind of things open up other opportunities. Now the defense can't sit there and put 7, 8 guys in a box and just, run downhill with your running back all day. Now they got to
Yeah.
respect your pass. Now they got to respect your scrambling quarterback. Now they have to respect the fact that your running back, put up 100 yards last game. And that opens other things up, Mike. So, they're doing the
Yeah.
little steps that you need to make to become a better football team. Now it's just
Yeah.
doing it on a more consistent basis,
Yeah.
to where
And,
that's who you become as a team. And that's what they have to do. So far,
and
as I said, Mike, a third of the way through the season, 6 games out of 17 games, we haven't been out of first place yet.
I haven't been out of first place yet. And the toss sweep worked, baby. We got a touchdown out of it. Was it blocked perfectly? No. Should have been stopped for a loss? Yes. But Najee made it work. And now Artie Smith's going to be running that toss sweep even more. And I'm here for it because it worked. And the toss sweep that everyone hates, we used a fake toss sweep to set up the Justin Fields touchdown. I think it was the last touchdown of the game. We pitched to the left, run to the near side, and boom, touchdown. So more toss sweeps in the future is what I want to see.
The Jets going to be a nice matchup for us, Mike. Of course, as I said,
It's going to be a fun one.
they have a lot. They have some nice young skilled players on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Receivers, DBs, nice. As I said, the veteran quarterback who's been there, done that. So I don't know if again, I think they'll be a little bit more of a difficult game than the Raiders were for us, but I don't think it's anything out of our grasp. I think that this should be a good game, especially being on Prime, especially being down at the AC, especially it feels good right now, guys.
Did you
Enjoy
call
this.
did you call Akisher down at the AC?
That's right, baby.
The AC.
The
Oh
AC.
my
If
god.
you're, and I'm not going to tell you why I call it that, but feel free, to use that. No, it's a Pitt thing. They use that over at the campus over in
I would say
Oakland.
this is the first I've heard of it, and
And that's why I wasn't going to tell
it
you where
makes
I got it
sense coming from
because you'll never say it because people at
because it
Pitt
was a
say it.
Pitt thing. Yeah, I can't say it as a Penn State
Well, we'll
fan
get
down
more
at
into
the
those
AC.
things in a little bit, Mike. Of course, we still got the Steelers to talk about. Let's get some individual numbers out here. Justin Field touchdowns, no picks. Najee Harris goes 14 carries, 106 yards, a touchdown. Again, 84 of those 106 yards were after contact, which was the most impressive. The guy wouldn't go down yesterday. I mean, that was a man possessed. Whatever he was doing, do it again next week. Justin Fields on the ground ran the ball 11 times for 59 yards, two touchdowns on the ground. And also Najee forced 6 missed tackles as well. So on top of all that, he forced side outs. He had 3 carries for 53 yards. I think that number has to improve. Also, Patrick Queen on the defensive side of the ball had 6 tackles, 7 assisted tackles. Cam Hayward in his have a sack. I think he had a couple tackles as well. But one of my finalists for the game ball, believe how good he is. I can't believe how he's lived up to the hype. You get guys from other teams, especially if you get you trade Deontay Johnson, you don't know what the hell you're getting. I like Dante Jackson. Another interception yesterday, Mike, game changer. Again, he is in my list of top 5
Elliott
candidates
to
for that
that
game ball yesterday.
secondary, the huge key offseason acquisitions in
Oh,
my
Elliott
opinion.
was big back there too. Both of them. Didn't
Yeah.
Elliott recover the fumble down inside the
Yeah,
5?
yeah.
And
He apologized on Instagram. He said he will not be like dog walking again.
Mike
He'll try
literally
and
said
get up
during the
and run
game,
next
I wish
time.
he would dog walk all the way up the field and score a touchdown.
That would have been the best thing in the world. Like just seeing the way he was doing that, it made me laugh. It made me
Well,
chuckle. I
more
thought it
good
was the best
stuff.
thing in the world.
Yesterday, TJ Watt again, he had 2 forced fumbles, a big game for him. Such a game breaker, this guy. When it comes down to it, you need a big play. Come on, say what you want about the guy, but again, who else caused two forced fumbles in key parts of games to help your team win in the league yesterday? I don't know anybody. Boz went 4 for 4 on the day. And of course, Jeremiah Moon with a
Hmm.
huge block on the punt. That it changed the game position around, but I don't think we scored. We weren't able to punch it in from where it was at. We're talking a punt. I think that's a couple now in the season for us. You got to like that when you see it on your team, especially in the NFL. You don't see blocks on punts a lot, and we're managing to
Yeah.
bring them up this year.
That's
Mike,
what, two this year, man.
is it
Danny
two?
Smith. Yeah, that's two. Danny Smith, man, and the boys are just
The
dialing it
Raiders
up
had
this year. I
O'Connell who
love it.
started. He went 27 for 40 for 227, a touch and a pick. Also, Madison, 14 carries. He had 33 yards and a touch. Bowers, 9 catches, 71 yards. And old Spillane, Robert Spillane, who played a good game. He had 5 tackles and 3 assisted tackles on the day. So,
See
I
the way
mean,
he was doing that game.
again,
Yeah,
again, that was if you're a Steeler fan, that was should have been your favorite game to
it
watch
should have
this
been.
year.
Yeah, I thought it was I liked it from beginning to end. I thought we played all right, man. It was a good game.
Absolutely. Um, Let me go over these
Yeah.
scores from around the league, and then tonight we do have one more. There's one more game. It is the Monday Night Football game at New York. We're gonna get an opportunity,
Hmm.
guys, to look at who it is we play next Sunday night. When we come back to the AC, Mike, back at the AC, we'll be back to play this New York Jets team tonight. So I'll be sure to watch this game. I'll be watching really close. Maybe we could get a fortunate injury go our way for once.
Oh
Again,
God.
you don't want to see people get hurt, but again,
You
it
know,
happens in the NFL, and you know
if
what?
someone just gets banged up for the day and they have to leave, that's fine. So they come back healthy next game. Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the game on Thursday night before we left for Friday for the weekend. 49ers win that game 36-24 over the Seattle Seahawks. Mike, the 9:30 a.m. game we talked a little bit about yesterday on Brian's show as it was happening. 35-16 in favor of the Bears. They beat Jacksonville over in England. There's another game next week, also 9:30, and there's also 2 Monday night games again next week. So mad crazy football time, guys. The first 1 o'clock game was the Buccaneers. I wasn't surprised that they beat the Saints, but I was surprised they put up 51 points in a
Oh yeah.
51-27 win over the Saints.
Like it felt like a lot of that scoring too came late in that game.
And the Saints, you figure this is a team that put up 45, 50 points earlier this season. So, lot going on over in the NFC. The Ravens, they dropped the Washington Commanders. I was hoping we could get a little help on that one. The Ravens win 30-23 over Washington. The Green Bay Packers over the Arizona Cardinals 34-13. An AFC South showdown between the Colts and the Titans. Colts win this game 20-17. The front runner in that division, the Houston Texans, beat the New England Patriots 41-21. Of course, the Browns drop one to the Eagles 20-16. The Chargers beat the Broncos 23-16 in a division that we own. We own that division. That's why we're going to beat the Chiefs this year, Mike, because we already won 3 games out of that division.
I, oh God, if we beat the Chiefs, man, I don't care what happens the rest of the season. Like if
Panthers
we beat the
20,
Chiefs,
the Lions 47, the Cowboys 9. How could you not love that? Oh, 47-9, the Lions over the Cowboys. And then finally, the Sunday night game was the Bengals 17, the Giants 7, which is the other team we play here in 2 weeks on Monday night. The Giants also at the AC. So you could get an idea of what it is just from watching the primetime games from yesterday and today of what it is the Steelers are going to be up against next week. So that is the scores. Tomorrow, Mike Derpy will be around. We will be going down the list and see who won this week on the picks. You know, we know that you're down 4 games to 1. So hopefully you're able to get back in it this week.
I have Derpy right where I want him. I have him lulled into a false sense of confidence and
All
security.
right. I like it. Some comments on the board about the act. Back to the act. Don't talk back. I like it. Yakety yak, yakety. Um, Mike, we got to get into these grades,
Yes.
and then we're going to do our game balls for the week. Uh, let's start with the grades. Mike, quarterback. How do you grade? How do you grade
Mm.
your quarterback? And is Russell Wilson? I mean, come on. There's no way that you could put this guy in now.
Oh,
Anybody that's calling for this guy, you're out of your mind. You're not going to start over with a guy who
yeah.
hasn't played a single snap, tight and calf in preseason. They got tight again in the regular season. The guy hasn't played it down. this other, we're 4-2 again. We haven't been out of
Yeah,
first place. If any of these weren't the case, maybe, just maybe. But at
yeah.
this point,
And
it's insane to put Russell Wilson in. So, Mike, give me your grade on what your quarterbacks, how they played this week against the Raiders.
I'm gonna right now. I'm gonna give Justin Fields a C plus. You know, he made some great plays with his leg, makes some good throws, but makes some decisions that like, oh, we got lucky, or
We finally got some
some
calls
stuff.
our way.
Yeah, we got some calls, which was awesome. And that play where he was at the line of scrimmage is like, oh, we see.
The offensive line looked good. Najee was able to run for 106 yards. Justin was able to. Yeah. So again, we'll get to that in a second. Mike, let's get to the running backs. What do you think of Najee? What did he score
Oh,
yesterday for
oh,
you?
Najee's getting an A plus for me. It's one of
Yeah,
the best games I've seen him play. He's out there just doing little wiggles to make guys room, making his own holes, making guys miss, especially on that touchdown run. It should have been balled up for just a decent gain. He found ways to bust it open for a touchdown. So A plus from Najee. I liked what I saw from him. Went a little bit more worn out of the run game, but I thought he did well in pass protection. So
yeah.
overall, they all get an A, but Najee gets the A plus.
Yeah, I mean Warren. I mean he was just coming back. I didn't know what to expect from Warren. I didn't know
Mhm.
if Najee was going to kind of let Warren take some of the load and not run as hard. But you know what? It was almost like he was running to keep his job yesterday.
Yeah.
And as long as come on, if he could run like that, we're going to be in good shape for the
Hmm.
season. Mike, to the tight ends. I don't know if there's much to talk about yesterday, but what do you grade for the tight ends? I guess the
Mm.
blocking, as Jen said earlier,
Blocking was good.
was looking good. What do you give the tight ends?
Hmm. Connor Hayward's going to affect this grade because he has some costly penalties. So that's going to bump them down to a B minus. But their blocking was damn good. Muth had a couple nice key catches across the middle of the field. So yeah, B minus.
All right. Wide receivers, Mike. Again, the leading wide receiver was Pickens with 3 catches, 53 yards on the day, no touchdowns by these receivers. What do you give these receiving? Like we're already halfway through the season almost.
Yeah, they're getting a C. They're getting a C, and I'm just happy George did not blow up at one point during this game.
Yeah, no, he did
He
good.
should. He dropped that touchdown pass that was right there. That was like the Antonio Brown make you happy pass, and he dropped it, but he didn't want to cry about it. So, a C.
All right. So far, also keeping track of what Field of Steel is saying on the board. He had given the quarterbacks a B, the running backs an A, the tight ends and wide receivers D's. Let's move forward, guys. The offensive line, again, with the makeshift line, the injuries, the rookies, the everything else. Guys coming in that weren't even on this team to fill backup roles. And again, you know what? We were able to impose our will and do what it was that we wanted to do yesterday, and
Mm-hmm.
ran the game at our pace. Mike, what do you give these offensive linemen for yesterday?
I'm gonna give them a B. They had opened up some great holes in the run game. Still like some bad execution, but
Yeah,
they did what they had to do. Max Crosby's going to make plays. The guy's just too quick, too fast. But they held him in check. They have
yeah.
some good speedy linebackers like that. Divine Diablo is flying all over the place. Stuff like that's gonna happen. I give them a B minus because watching early film on Broderick Jones was horrendous again. I can't wait to break him down this week. Oh, there's one play where Fields had to run up the middle. Broderick started running downfield when the ball was snapped. He forgot what he was playing. He ran forward, stopped, and looked around.
Well, here's something I was thinking about that exact play, Mike. Remember you pulled up that diagram yesterday on the show, on the
Yeah.
pregame show, and it looked like that old electronic
Yeah.
football game that
That's what
every
Broderick was
10-year-old boy
doing.
had. That's
Yeah.
what Broderick looks like out there. It's just this aimless,
Yeah.
and next thing you know,
Yeah.
he's down the field.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive line, Mike, let's hop over the defensive side of the ball. What do you give
Mm.
the defensive line? Cam, Larry, Keanu, what do you give them?
Give them an A. They outside of that first drive, really, they locked it up. Only what 50 some odd yard rushing. The linebackers were running free yesterday. Your inside backers were, but that tells me without looking at film that they were eating up blocks up front and down the stretch. Man, Cam, Keanu, and Ogunjobi were making explosive plays into the backfield. So I'm going to give them an A.
All right. Phil still gave him a B plus. Let's go to the linebacker core, Mike. Of course, guys are out, inside, outside. What do you give the linebackers yesterday?
Um, Whew, they're getting they're getting an A from me as well. Patrick Queen played the best game. of his young Steeler career.
Yeah, I
He was
agree.
flying all over the place, and it wasn't just to run around, and he was flying around in a controlled manner,
He was
making key
sticking people
plays.
too, man.
He was too, and Peyton Wilson was as well. Landon Roberts as well. T.J. Watt, just two without those two forced fumbles, this game could be a loss for the Steelers, especially in that one down at the red zone. That was key play. So yeah, they're getting an A.
There was a couple plays early on when they ran the ball to the left-hand side, taking advantage of Noah Highsmith, taking advantage of
Yep.
Noah Herbig.
Yeah.
But we were able to seal that off eventually, and hopefully we get at
Hmm.
least one of those guys back sooner than later. Mike, let's go to the DBs. I'm talking about Dante Jackson. I'm talking about Elliott. I'm talking about Porter,
Hmm.
Minka, even Steve Urkel's doppelganger Terrell Edmonds was in there yesterday. Mike, what do you give this group of DBs for their performance?
Uh, Raiders put up some passing yards, but I'm still going to give them an A. Especially down that stretch, man. They locked things up. They tightened up. Key interception from Dante Jackson. The key tackle from Deshaun Elliott that allowed for the very next play to be the forced fumble from TJ Watt. He doesn't make that tackle. It's a touchdown. We don't have that, 7-10 point
Yeah.
swing go in the opposite way. So they locked it up. Brock Bowers was going to get his yardage. That dude, even though he was a rookie, he's too good. Guys like that are going to get their yardage. But no,
And you know what? Holding anybody
I
to
think they
13
did pretty
points,
well.
you're
And
holding
yeah,
anybody to 13 points in the
200,
NFL.
yeah,
You know
200
what I
yards
mean?
passing, 220
We're happy
passing.
when we
I'll
hold
take it.
teams to 10. This is literally
Hmm.
just a field goal more. So,
I
um,
thought they played well.
special teams, Mike, we did have 4 for 4 from our field goal kicker. We had a blocked punt in this game. I
Hmm.
don't think there was any major F ups if I'm remembering right.
No,
What do you give
no,
these special teams?
I'm going to give them an A plus. They did have Raiders had a 31-yard kickoff return, but oh well, it didn't cause any problems
Yeah.
because and anytime you get a block, and Boss is 4 for 4, you're getting an A plus out of me. I think Waitman even kicked well too. You know, he's doing
Yeah.
very well on the directional kicking. They're not as deep as we were getting from Cam Johnson before the injury, but his directional kicking, allowing the Gunners to get down there, is just top notch.
Um,
Like Jen said, the Raiders penalties, man,
You know what? I'm
huge.
not even going to talk about it because here's the thing: the penalties usually affect us negatively. If it's going to go in the other team, and
Yeah,
affect them,
but
you know what? Good. We're
uh,
finally not the team that's getting screwed.
yeah,
I
but how many times like the holding calls they kept throwing for Max Crosby? TJ Watt deals with that
Yeah.
in a half of a game and nothing gets called.
I'm at the point where I just wish they would let the guys play football. That's where I'm at personally. And again, it was nice to have it go in the other way, not against
Yeah,
us. So you know what? Let's roll with it because if we get too excited, it'll come back next week
yeah.
and nail us with
Well,
10
like how
penalties.
many times were like I pointed out they were jumping off sides before a play. It wasn't called, but we were getting like 1 to 2 seconds extra on
I
the
tell
play
you what, Mike,
clock. It was
you were drinking at 6 in the morning. So anything that you said, there was a good chance I wasn't paying much attention to anymore.
I would
But
no at 6 o'clock in the morning, like maybe six
damn
oh
near,
five.
didn't the show start at 10? You were already half
The
lit.
show started at 11, and I
All
started
right.
at
All
ten
right.
fifty five.
Then the coaching, Mike. What do you give the coaching? Tomlin, was there fourth downs? Was there anything like this that was questionable? What do you give the coaching
I
for
didn't
the
think there was anything questionable. I had no problem going for two. I have no problem with the trick play. That's normally the area of the field where teams go for a trick play. I and after that first series from offense and defense, things got a whole lot better. They made adjustments as the game went on. I'm gonna give these guys a solid B plus. I was happy with it.
And also, Brian says, I'm sorry, Brian. He also says a little bit ago, almost according to what Jen was saying as well, our best plays were the Raiders effing anything up positive for themselves. And again, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. A win is a win is a win. We're 4-2. We have not left first place all season.
And
That's what I keep saying to myself. And you know what? I feel pretty damn
right.
good about it.
Yeah. And we took
Victory
advantage.
Monday.
Yeah, victory Monday, baby. But we took advantage of the Raiders' mistakes. And that's what you have to do. Now, if we weren't taking advantage of those mistakes, I'd be really worried. And we took advantage. I think
And
every time,
finally,
like,
Mike, what do you give this team overall for their game against the Raiders?
I can give them I think my grades average out to like a B plus A minus. And I thought that's what it was. And that was good enough to beat the Raiders, be good enough to beat a handful of other teams in this league, maybe outside of Kansas City and the Vikings. If
All
we would have
right.
played like this last week, I think we beat Dallas.
All right. So now it comes down to it, Mike. We're adding this to the show this week. We
Yes.
have never given out game balls.
I thought we did.
Today,
Oh, boy.
I don't know.
I
It's
can't
just,
remember.
I had to say it for the segment.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Just pipe down over there, would you?
I'm
All
sorry.
right, game balls for the week, Mike. I'll give mine first.
All right.
I think there was quite a few guys that certainly could have qualified. I think that TJ with his two forced fumbles, uh, Dante Jackson had a nice timely interception. Jeremiah Moon's block punt.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, Najee Harris, the guy ran like a beast. He ran out of his mind. He ran yesterday better than I've seen him run all season. Mike, my game ball, without a question, goes to Najee Harris for yesterday's game.
That's a that's a damn good, damn good recipient for the game ball. I'm gonna give it to the much maligned here on the show, Cam Hayward. I like.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Wasn't flashy, wasn't wasn't great, but he played a damn good game. From what I read, he was the one that was telling the defense after that first drive, it's not happening again. They're no, we're locking it
It
up. And
certainly
he showed
seems
that,
like he's
and he showed
improved
that leadership, and I
since he
like that.
started catching strays, doesn't it? His play
Hmm.
the last 2 weeks, I thought, looked a lot better than it did from the first four.
I thought his play last 2 weeks sucked. I thought
Really?
this week, oh yeah, he was
I'm
terrible
talking
the
about,
last
yeah,
two
the
weeks of
last 2 weeks, Mike. Today, yesterday, and the week
today.
before, where he
The
had a
one,
couple sacks or the sack.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I kind of blacked out the Dallas game, but this game I thought he played. He was more consistent in fighting through blocks. There were a couple times, he got blocked one on one downfield, but that's football. It happens. But I thought he played from start to finish one of his better games I've seen him play, and he was really dominant down the stretch. So I talk shit on him all the time, and when he plays well, I'm going to give him his credit. So well done, Cam Hayward. You get the game ball from me.
He did play a good game. I wouldn't have given him a game ball, but I certainly I could have recognized his improved play. And I thought yesterday and
Hey,
last week were his two best games of the season. So once he started catching them strays, I think he started playing better. Let's keep an eye on see what he does. Also, Mike, the games for the next weekend. Again, we play Sunday night against the Jets, 8:20. The Ravens, they play Monday Night Football at Tampa Bay, which could be a very
mm,
interesting game. And then the Cincinnati Cleveland disaster over there in Ohio that Chin's guys have. They play one another up in the Stake by the Lake, Cincinnati at Cleveland, 1 o'clock p.m. on Sunday. Mike, let's bust through some of this other stuff. We have some interesting trivia today. It's going to be the Jets trivia, but let's bust through some of these other things here before we get to that point of the show. This be what happened in college football over the weekend. The number 22 Pitt Panthers beat California 17-15, takes them to number 20 overall in the country. They're 6-0. They have Syracuse next Thursday, not this upcoming Thursday, but they will be the ESPN game next Thursday. The Pitt Panthers in Syracuse in the ACC. Penn State, they get the victory in overtime, a 33-30 win over USC. Penn State makes a comeback. They bump up to number 3 overall in the country with some teams ahead of them losing. We'll get to that team in just a second. But Mike, they are off this coming week. The Penn State Nittany Lions won't play for 2 weeks. The Ohio State Buckeyes, they dropped a game. My goodness, if you've seen this game, you're scratching your head. Great game. Oregon, Ohio State, 32-31. The number 2 team versus the number 4 team. Ohio State, the last drive of the game, they needed to stop the clock. The quarterback runs up the middle, slides, no timeouts, no attempt to get to the sideline. I don't know what he was thinking. Costed Ohio State the game. Oregon wins 32-31. Ohio State is also off this upcoming weekend. West Virginia, they drop one to number 9, Iowa State, 28-16. They have number 17, Kansas State, coming up this Saturday. And a couple of the bigger name teams in college football, Alabama, another close scare. They only beat South Carolina 27-25. Alabama sitting at number 7, but this does not look like the Alabama team that we're used to seeing.
no.
And finally, a good game that I enjoyed late on Saturday night was the LSU win over Ole Miss. Ole Miss came in 18. I think LSU, or they dropped to 18. LSU's up to 8 now. 29-26. LSU beat Ole Miss on Saturday night. Pittsburgh Penguins, they played their third game of the year against the Toronto Maple Leafs on
Mm.
Saturday night. They dropped that game 4-2. They fall to 1-2 on the season. Malkin and Crosby both had Malkin had 2 assists, which ended up being his 1,300th point of the season or his career. I'm sorry. Crosby had an assist, and Letang and Raquel both had goals in that game. The Penguins will play the Canadians tonight at 7:30. Pittsburgh
Jari
River.
was the no, sorry. Looks like Jari will get the start in goal tonight for the Penguins.
Yes, the kid started on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah.
The Hounds, they beat the Charleston Battery 2-0. The Pittsburgh River Hounds. And then also here around the country, the WNBA, that series is tied 1 game apiece in the finals between the Liberty and the Lynx. The Liberty win over the weekend 80-66. Series is tied 1-1. Game 3 is Wednesday. That will be at Minnesota. And finally, Mike, in the majors, Pittsburgh, I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. Yeah, like that will ever be
Yeah,
mentioned
right,
at
right.
this point of the season in the
Wow.
majors. But it is down to the final four. We have a possibility for a Subway Series, which I like. A lot of people don't like to see both New York teams in it, but New York, they do play the Dodgers. They played game one last night. The Dodgers won that game 9-0 actually. And then the Yankees, they host the Cleveland Guardians. That series starts today at 7:38, game one. And then the Mets and the Dodgers will play game two today as well. That's a 4:08 start.
I'm calling
So
it right now. It's going to be the Dodgers versus Yankees, Otani versus Judge. That's what the MLB wants.
we will see. That's a lot of people are saying that. It's a classic. It would be a classic too. I mean, the Dodgers and the Yankees. There's a lot of history there. So
Mhm.
I think it might be good for baseball. Well, Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
The2WInsers.com. Head on over there, check it out. We got the merch store, all of our links to all of our social media, especially if you are new here, just popping through, checking out the show. Head on over there for all of our social media, the merch store, and the blog at the2WInsers.com.
I gotta say one more thing about Pitt, Mike. The defensive lineman,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Scott, he had
Yeah.
7 tackles, 4 tackles for
Ooh.
losses, and three sacks in the game this weekend over
Ooh.
Cal, who Cal really gave number 6 Miami a run for their money last week.
Yeah.
Miami had to come back and they beat Cal 39-38. We only let up 15 points to Cal, so
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Cal's a scrappy team this year.
They are a scrappy team. I like the way our defense is looking. That's what I was concerned about was the defense, and they did step it up. So H2P. All right, guys, let's get ready for a little trivia. This week is going to be the Jets trivia. Of course, on the show, we do trivia of the team that the Steelers are playing that upcoming week. And of course, the New York Jets are the competition this week. Let me get to that in 1 second, Ron. I don't know exactly who's winning yet because we still have one more game tonight before we officially get into it.
Mm.
Let's hop over into the trivia. Guys, New York Jets. How well do you know your New York Jets?
Joe Namath.
Here is the here is the trivia question of the day. Here we go. Super Bowl III MVP Joe Namath, best known for his prediction of winning Super Bowl III over the Colts, played his high school football at Beaver Falls, right here across the river, literally about 4 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. Joe Namath, known best for his prediction of Super Bowl III, played his high school football at Beaver Falls. The question of the day, guys, but where? Where did he play his college ball? I'm looking for where Joe Namath played his college ball.
Huh.
Take a moment to think this over, guys. We are live. We're live 5 days a week, right here, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day, right here on YouTube. All right, again, Joe Namath, he makes the bold prediction the Colts were heavy favorites with Johnny U, who's also a Western PA guy, were favored over the Jets. But you know what? Joe Namath says, you know what? We're going to beat them guys. I guarantee it. He beats them. They win Super Bowl III. Joe Namath from right across the river here. As a matter of fact, on our Facebook page, I did have from the other night from the radio station I work at, it was the Beaver Falls New Brighton game. I had that up there just for this reason, because I knew we played Joe's team this coming week. So I did leave that up there. And the team they played, New Brighton, is where Terry Francona, the great coach, the baseball rankings.
Who should be the Pirates manager?
Yeah. So we know he played pros with the Jets. He played high school in Beaver Falls. But the answer that I need, guys, today is what college? Where did Broadway Joe play college football? Mike, you want to take a guess?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
All right, locking you in on Notre Dame. Wasn't a bad guess. It was unfortunately it was Joe Montana that went to Notre Dame, also from the
Ah,
Pittsburgh area.
yeah.
Uh, but Ron on the board said Alabama. Mike says Notre Dame.
Oh, dang it. I think Ron's right.
Question of the day: Super Bowl III MVP Joe Namath, best known for his prediction for winning Super Bowl III, has played his high school football at Beaver Falls. But where did Broadway Joe play college? Mike says Notre Dame. Ron says Alabama under Coach Bear Bryant, and that would be right. He did play
Yep.
at Alabama.
Yep.
So there you go, Broadway Joe. Brought from Broadway Joe to Aaron Rodgers. Here we go, Mike. Hey, you'll get it next
Yeah.
time.
I'll get it next time.
But do check out the website,
The
www.the2dumbyensers.com. As we start to wrap things up, Mike, anything you got? What do you got, man? I
what
know
do I
you.
got? Like, Penn State's tight end, Tyler Warren. 17 catches last week, 224 yards, one touchdown, one rushing attempt for 4 yards, one passing attempt for 9 yards, and he played center for one snap. This guy can do it all. He's like Penn State's entire offense. Oh, he's a senior this year, so look for him to shoot up the draft boards this year. Penn State, baby. We are becoming tight end you, baby.
All right, we got we're still keeping an ear open on Zach Frazier. That could be a really big injury. Hopefully
Yeah.
he's okay. Mike says he's in a boot walking around. He went to the blue tent yesterday during the game. Then he did leave the field back to the locker room. So tomorrow we'll know for sure. If we don't hear any time in between now and then, we'll certainly know for sure at the Mike Tomlin's press conference that tomorrow. Also, Mike, listen, you're not obligated to. You're not obligated to do the reaction for the Renegade video because the Steelers didn't lose.
Uh-huh.
That was going to be the breaker,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
going to break
yeah.
the curse. But if you still want to do that, we'll get that in the middle of the week. We will have the Renegade. We'll put it on. We will react to the video because Mike is such a what would be the word, Mike? You just don't like it, right?
Hater.
He's a hater. So, you think on that maybe here in the middle of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll get in some Renegade reaction. I think that could be a lot of fun here on the show because the guys on the board and everybody else will also, and gals will also be able to participate as well. And we could decide once and for all if Renegade should be the song that the Steelers play. I do want to say thank you everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you, each and every one. We really do. We wouldn't do it without you. I want to thank everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show. I want to thank you so much, Ron, for flipping out on Mike or the flipping out Mike fund. I like that. I want to thank you so much, Ron. Greatly appreciated, sir. Greatly appreciated.
So now I feel like I'm obligated to flip out.
I think that would make you want to feel obligated not to flip out. I mean, this poor guy. I mean, geez, oh man.
I'm gonna cause Ron to go bankrupt.
Hey, Ron's gonna get in debt with you. But we got 2 minutes, Mike. What else? Anything else? Any? I know we got the Bills and Jets tonight. I'm going to be watching this game really
I
close.
know Trey Essex doesn't like me on Twitter. Former Steeler offensive lineman doesn't like me.
Oh yeah, Mike got in a fight with Trey Essex on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah. Well, because I normally I follow along Twitter on the game and it makes my blood pressure boil. So this time I didn't, and I went back on Twitter after the game, and everyone's like, yeah, I thought the Steelers lost the way the stuff was going. And I made a comment to Trey. He said, oh, this toss sweep stupid. We ended up scoring a touchdown off of it and
Yeah.
using it as to set up another touchdown. I was like, this tweaked in an age ball. Trey attacked me. And I felt good about myself.
Trey did attack you.
He
So
did
so
too. He
so
did
defend
too.
Mike, defend Mike, and if you want to go on Twitter today and give a little bit to Trey Essex, you could take you could get Mike's back if you'd like.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Trey's a good guy. I like Trey Essex. I like his
Yeah.
stuff on Twitter.
I like Trey too. I tend to like a lot of stuff that he has up
Yeah,
there.
I was just surprised like he commented back because his original post was like 2 hours,
The way he
and then I
attacked you,
post
I thought
my,
was he really came
oh,
back at you,
it
man.
really didn't work. It only worked because Najee did something, so it did work, Trey. It
Yeah.
worked.
But again, guys, it is Victory Monday. Enjoy,
Yes,
enjoy,
enjoy Victory
enjoy what it
Monday.
was that your Pittsburgh Steelers were able to do, guys. It is a lot of fun. Take it in while you can. I'd like to get these next 2 wins under our belt, stack a couple more before we get into that second half of the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we go into that second half 6-2, getting Cam Sutton back, a little extra help in the secondary, and maybe get a couple other guys healthy, we can make a nice run in the second half of the year. I'm definitely feeling optimistic today, more optimistic than I have the past couple weeks. So, guys, again, the Bills do travel to play the Jets tonight. That is the team that we'll be seeing next week. Maybe keep an eye on that. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Also, again, a couple other things going on. The Penguins back at it tonight. They are going to be in Montreal playing the Canadiens. There's playoff baseball on all throughout. I mean, every day with this baseball. I mean, every time I turn around, another game has been played. They fly through this. They fly through playoffs in baseball, which I could deal with. And like I said, guys, Victory Monday. We got the Jets next. That's all that matters. We'll get into the picks, see who won that tomorrow. We'll get into next week's game coming up. We do definitely need to add another quality wide receiver.
Yes, yes, we
Mike
do.
and I were talking. It feels like as they get closer to the trade deadline, I think you might start seeing teams free up players, receivers, yada
Mm-hmm.
yada yada. Maybe teams like Jacksonville and teams like that. We could probably pick up somebody pretty talented. But that after 6 weeks is kind of how it feels like it's going, Mike. Because again, nothing is no moves have happened, but
Yeah,
deadline.
yeah. It
I think
seems
it
like
would happen there
yeah.
if
It
anything.
seems the way the NFL is going now is trade deadlines. Trades are happening more often than they have in years past, coming like the rest of the sports league. So I hope they pull something off. Like if they don't get Devontae Adams, Christian Kirk, like Jen's been saying, and I've been saying down
Something right.
from
And here's the thing.
Jacksonville.
And if you could stack these next 2 wins and go 6-2 into the break, and
Mm-hmm.
then get people healthy, and
Oh
then
yeah.
get Cam back, and then get a top, a nice quality wide receiver. As I said, I think the second half of the season could be a lot of fun,
Yep.
guys. But that's about it for me,
That's
Mike.
all I got, man. Good
Speak now,
show,
still
everyone.
hold your peace. Absolutely. Thank you,
Yes,
everybody. We
appreciate
appreciate
every one of you
everybody.
guys.
Absolutely. As always, thank you, Ron. Mike, great job. If that's it, speak now. Done.
I'm done. I'm done.
All
I'm
right,
done.
brother. We'll be back tomorrow, guys, to talk about the game tonight and a whole bunch of other things getting ready, moving forward to the Jets this coming weekend. So we hope to see you then. I hope everybody has a great day. Enjoy the games tonight. We will be back tomorrow. We'll see you then. For Mike in his Steelers Central Mobile Studio, myself, the two dumb Yenders, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.